Hi there, it's 3 weeks to my show in London, and because I've got quite a few new sculptures to show for it, it's time for me to start making the plinths for them. Plinths are just basically the stands that the sculptures sit on, and for me it's quite important they're pretty strong because the work's fairly heavy, and I also make them so that they've got lids that can be taken off so that I can store all the packaging for the sculptures inside. When you go to an exhibition space, you're just given a space, you're rarely given any storage there, so that if you have like I think I'm taking about 28 maybe 30 pieces with me of various sizes, and they're all wrapped up in bags and things. I sew the bags so that they've got soft cloth bags over them made out of old curtains and things. Then I wrap them up in bubble wrap because you don't want bubble wrap to go on the lacquered surface of the piece or the wax surface because it can damage it. And then they go inside, in some cases the Olympians and the very expensive pieces go in purpose-made boxes. But all those things need to be stored away. So I've just made these things so I can store them as I go. The reason why I'm showing you is I know it's not exciting, but if you are a young artist, it's the sort of thing I wish I'd known when I was younger. Plinths are quite expensive to have them made for you, but they're relatively simple. They're still not cheap to make. Some of these plinths cost sort of 50-60 quid each to make. But if I was having them made for me, they'd probably cost a hell of a lot more, and at least this way I get them exactly the size I want. What I do is I get MDF. I've already planned this out, designed them. I want the plinths to be a certain set of heights. I get MDF boards and I get them cut when I buy the boards. These are 12mm. These are really heavy. Usually I wet 9mm or 6mm. But these are heavy because I want them for the Olympians. They have to be pretty heavy for that. And I get them cut to size, so I typically have two sides slightly longer than the others, but you need to work them out in proportion to the work you've got. But one of the good ways of doing it is by laying out pieces of paper on table, putting your work on it and just checking it's got a comfortable space around it. You may also want to do what I do, which I drill holes into the lids, some of the lids, to actually wire through the work and padlock underneath, and then I secure the lids on so that it's not so easy for things to be stolen. In fact, it's really hard because unless someone picks up the plinths as well, sometimes they can't get rid of get the pieces out. But that's really just down to the experience of having a piece knit. It just makes you far more careful after that. So I get those. I then cut battens. Down here I've got an old Black & Decker workbench or something. It's my husband's, but I cut these battens. I buy these battens from Wadhurst Ironmongers, high G if you ever see this. These are 2cm square that way, and I cut these according to the length of the pieces. So we're on this one. Blue Peter moment. Here's one I made earlier. So this is the side. These are the battens I've cut. They are almost identical to the length. They're just slightly shorter because sometimes when you're laying them on and gluing them, they are quite in line and you have little bits sticking out otherwise. I glue the two long sides with those buttons on the end, and then I put the shorter sides on here. In fact, you can see it on here. So that's the longer side's got the buttons on the end, and I've got the shorter sides. I've got two shorter sides, and then I join them together using wood glue. I think I use Evo stick, but I just use a good quality wood glue. And then I have these sash clamps, I think they're called. I've got a whole load of those, and I stick those down the side while it's going like that to hold it together. For the lids and the bases, they're the same. I have larger pieces cut, so I've worked out the measurements for that, and I've added a couple of centimetres on around the edge. Get those cut, and I've drawn them out. I don't know if that shows up. Yeah, can you see? I've drawn out where the edge is going to go and also where the buttons are in the corner. I then cut buttons to fit there and there. And in a minute I'll have 4 of these and I'll glue them on and then I'll clamp them with G-clamps so that they can dry off. Once that's done, I then whack loads of glue around and sit it on. Now if you're being super careful, you can then drill in all down the edge, countersink the holes, so you screw through the battens onto the other side. But to be honest, although I used to make these things much more sturdily in the past like that, I've found that I don't really need to, and some of these have shown in the last 3 years. I've used some of these plinths about 30 times in different shows. So that's sort of in and out of cars, in and out of vans, that sort of thing. And every now and then they get a bit bashed on the edges, or sometimes the edges come apart a little bit, but all that happens is I get glue down those, reclamp them, and then they survive quite well. I've designed my plinths so I've got sort of larger ones, medium-sized ones and baby ones, so that if I've got too many of them around and I haven't got room, I just put them inside each other like they are Russian dolls, so that they can be stored away and not get in my way, and I can get them out when I need them for shows. Anyway, I hope that's helpful. Bye.